Up on September 14th is a night of empowerment through storytelling at the Pump House Regional Arts Center. The show centers around a novella called 40 Acres Deep, and the author, Michael Perry, will be on stage sharing excerpts of a tale of one man's journey to find hope in an unrecognizable world. Well, joining us now via Zoom to tell us all about it is Michael Perry, the author himself. Welcome to Daybreak, Michael. Thank you for joining us.
Oh, I'm happy to be up with you.
Well, thank you so much. So, Michael, this isn't your first trip to the Pump House in La Crosse, is it?
No, I think I've been there, 2 or 3 different times, and it's always sold out. We always have a great time. This evening, some of the subject matter is a little heavier than usual, but I always do a lot of humor as well. I weave that in. We all need to laugh. So very much looking forward to coming back. And this event in particular is sponsored by Amplify Health, and Dr. Michael Smith is going to be there after the fact to lead a little discussion about rural mental health.
Okay, so this centers around your story, 40 Acres Deep. What can you tell us about this story?
Well, I was raised on a northern Wisconsin dairy farm. I grew up milking cows and logging. I wound up writing for a living, so I have soft hands nowadays. But 40 Acres Deep it's a story I've watched unfold in my own backyard time after time. It's a farmer struggling to hold on to his farm. It's a pretty dark, unrelenting book. But before I wrote it, I sent it to several farmers and several people in the mental health field. And they just said, yes, it's a tough story, but someone needs to tell it from the ground level perspective. And so I did my best to convey that. It's fiction, but there's definitely an absolute foundation of reality beneath it.
So for folks wanting to attend the show, what can they expect from your performance?
Well, as I mentioned, we are going to talk very seriously, and it gets pretty heartfelt when we talk about rural mental health. There's a crisis in rural America with mental health. We've lost a lot of farmers to mental health issues. So we will be hitting that and addressing that pretty straightforwardly. But because I make half my living as a humorist, telling funny stories, we'll also weave in some humor. We need to laugh. We need to be able to reflect on these things from a little bit of a humorous distance.
And you say it does center around mental health for rural areas. What do you hope attendees take away from your performance?
I hope that, one of the biggest things is just people coming together. It's a time when there are a lot of divisions in the country, and I find I do a lot of these events, and when we sit down afterwards and we just shoot the breeze, whether it's farmers, city folks, whatever it is, we just find out that we have a lot in common, and we have a lot more people out there who care for us than we realize, I think. That's my hope. I'm kind of a roughneck, but I've got a soft heart, so I hope that comes across.
So where can folks find out more about 40 Acres Deep?
Well, the tickets, they can go to pumphouse.org. The other thing you can do is just go to my website, which is sneezingcow.com, which comes from a humor album I did a long time ago called Never Stand Behind a Sneezing Cow. And if you grew up on a farm, you don't need me to explain that to you. But sneezingcow.com, there's an events page, or as I said, you can go to pumphouse.org and get more details, because there are going to be some events prior to my event as well, some food in the cash bar and things like that.
Yeah, it's going to be an entire evening, not just starting at 7. It starts at 6, and there's going to be a lot of stuff, and there'll be a lot of vendors there too. So, okay, Mike, so unfortunately it's all the time we have. Thank you so much for joining us today.
My pleasure. Thanks for having me.
Okay.
See you at the Pump House.
Yes, thanks. And you can find out more about the Pump House event on our News 19 mobile app and online at wxow.com.
Thanks, Joe.